Cube, it's me, Cat, and Professional here as well. And today we're gonna be talking about this news about summer update, which is called Blood Money in Red Dead Online. Not only about the update itself, but we have information about the new Outlaw Pass, which is have different name now, and we're gonna discuss all this stuff. Meanwhile, I'm gonna be on the background, I don't know, searching for collectibles, because why not? It's the easiest way to make money when you cannot pay attention. And obviously I'm gonna be paying, keeping an eye on chat, but more focused on communication with the guest. So hello Professional, hello Patrick, how you doing?
What's up, man?
So, like the first question, like straight to the point, like, were you surprised to see that amount of information and of quality, possible quality of future contents that Rockstar told us yesterday, announced us? Because I was, because I was.
I mean, a little surprised. Usually, they wait until one day before. And even, sometimes they'll just post the update without, giving that much information. So, yeah, I mean, I was a little surprised, but at the same time, I'm a little skeptical at the same time.
You're still skeptical, right?
Yeah, I am, and the thing is, you can't really blame me. I
I
want to be
can't.
like,
Yeah.
I wanna like the game. I do. Like, I don't want to be a buzzkill or be negative here. But it's we don't know what else is in that update. There could be some nasty hidden surprises in there.
Obviously, as actually, it's something that I wanted to talk about with you because I wonder what do you think? Like, what's the catch this time? Because so far it looks like too good and too good for Rockstar. And I have like super important question, but we're gonna talk about this later. And I just wanted to ask you, like at the beginning, have you got the copyright claim for using trailer from Take-Two this time?
Yes. Yes.
So you
So
too.
like,
Okay.
you saw the video yesterday?
No, I haven't seen it.
Well, in the video, I just said, like, I was literally about to click play on the video, and I was saying, guys, if I don't have the trailer in here, it means I got a copyright claim. And then I just skip over to me reading the newswire, and it made like a little message on the screen which said I got a copyright claim. And it's stupid. It's always a visual copyright claim from
Yeah.
Take-Two. And if I actually dispute the claim from Take-Two, I always win when I dispute the claim. But the problem is, it takes 28 days to win the claim. So they don't respond for 28 days. That always happens. And then when 28 days later they don't respond, the claim is released. But by that time, it's the video. Most people have seen it. It's reacting to a trailer, and the DLC's out. So like nobody's really gonna come back to that video. So there's not that much of a point. I did like freeze the frame on the trailer at points and look at it, but I just focused on reading the newswire. I want to have that trailer reaction in there, but it was the stupid copyright claims.
Yeah, it's so typical. I received these copyright claims last 2 times, and in December I received it even using, not on a full screen this trailer and without a sound, only visual and only like 80% of a screen. Still, they copyright claimed me. I have no idea why. It's such a stupid behavior from them. It makes no sense.
Oh yeah.
So I have to say hello to anyone who joined. We have a lot of viewers right now, actually. And just to make sure that you understand, I don't know, maybe you don't understand what update we are talking about. I will pin in the chat video about me talking about this Blood Money update, so you can go and check what we're talking about, just in case. Blood Money update. By the way, how do you like the title? I mean, Patrick?
Oh, it's cool.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see such a cool, especially once they had the Naturalist update and stuff like
Oh my
this.
god, that update.
So yeah, now they have Blood Money, and it's really sound cool. It really sounds like something I was expecting for. But since we're talking with Patrick, and Patrick is a little bit suspicious, just like I am, despite the fact that I'm still more hyped. I don't know, but I cannot help myself but asking, like, how. It's the most important question, by the way. How are they gonna monetize it? because I want to start with the most important question. Because so far it looks like everything is free, like this new Outlaw Pass, which is Quick Draw Club, is almost free and stuff like that, but they're adding something that looks like a good content, at least something that people were asking for. And I still don't have an answer to this, the most important question. How are they gonna try to make money on this update? And what do you think?
I think that quick draw club, that they're going to rely mostly on that. They're making a pass each month, and they're probably hoping that there's going to be a decent amount of players that are just going to log in each month and buy the pass with real money, not with gold bars they earned in the game.
But I mean, it costs
They're-
25 gold bars only, and you're gonna get all this gold back if unlocking 25 levels, which is like how much, like 30 something thousands experience points, and you can easily do it in a month, even if you don't play too much.
I was thinking that maybe also you're gonna need some specific weapons for a job, or maybe like those weapons are gonna not necessarily be needed, but they're gonna help. Like maybe with the homestead robberies, there's gonna be a new type of lock breaker or something like that, and that's gonna be like a decent amount of gold bars. So they might try to monetize it with the cosmetics. There's definitely gonna be gold bar exclusive items coming back. The only question is how much.
Yeah, I mean the prices will be high for all these exclusive items. It's gonna cost gold, but I still have a feeling that they will try to add some other sorts of monetization. I mean this new something that it looks like a new currency to me. This how they call it, capitale. Yeah, capitale. What do you think?
I think that means capital in Italian.
Yeah, it's capital in Italian, and I think it's gonna. I have two like theories. First, it's gonna be like new experience for this role only. You earn it, and it unlocks you some activities. But I don't think it's too likely. Other, it's gonna be another currency, just a currency that you use only inside of this underworld. Maybe to buy some stuff, maybe just to access to heists, the robberies, opportunities they call it. But if it's gonna be new currency, I see no reason why they cannot sell it additionally for money, for real money.
But notice one thing. In that post and in that trailer, they did not once call it a new role. Notice that?
They did not. There's not gonna be a new role, as far as I can tell.
I don't, and it's kind of weird because we're getting all this, new stuff to do, but technically it's not a new role. I think that's like a little. I think it's a little weird.
Yeah.
That's that's why it's kind of weird when they say no upfront investment required. You think that there's something more to this.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, you're correct. They don't. It doesn't seem like it's gonna be a role that you will have to purchase with gold, right? And they claim that you're not gonna need to pay like gold to buy a weapon or something to take part in these criminal activities. But at the same time, it seems like they're adding new currency, and it makes perfect sense to me that this new currency is the way how they will try to capitalize this new update, new content, how to sell it. Because yeah, Outlaw Pass is cool and selling it is cool, but they always also were selling roles. Because you know what, when update came out, like many people will have, I can judge only based on votes that I was making and comments, but it seems like many players can afford either role or Outlaw Pass, but not both of these items. But now they're releasing only Outlaw Pass, so like no one's gonna, like way fewer people will go and buy gold with real money. So I still feel like they have some sort of a other plan for monetization. And I mean, think about it. If it's a new currency, they can take money from everyone, from you, from me, from all these super grinders who were grinding last few years, and now they have $1 million and 10,000 gold bars. because we all gonna be equal. No one has this. No one has this capital. Capitale. I'm
You
gonna be
got a
saying
point. The
capitale.
capitale could be used to buy new stuff in the update. You gotta,
Yep.
you do got a point there. I think the capitale is probably gonna just be stuff that you earn along the way on like each job, like some like those smaller the homestead robberies, the kidnappings, and what did they mention there? The coach holdups. Those I think are gonna depending on which one you start up, they're gonna give you a certain amount of capitale, and then you stack this up, and then you come back to like mortality, and you tell them I want to do the opportunity mission, and then that's gonna probably start this big mission, and the opportunity is probably gonna be something like a separate lobby. I don't think that's gonna be in free mode. I think
Yeah.
that's gonna be something you connect everyone else to, and then they said they're gonna have two more. So there's going to be probably two more like other opportunities in other states, like that's going to be drip fed along the way, and then you're going to be able to decide. But what might happen is one of these if these opportunity missions, if they all pay out the same way, and one is like much easier than the other, then people are just going to keep spamming the same job over and over again, unless they don't let you repeat it.
Yeah, maybe it's possible, but you said that it's gonna be not gonna be in the free roams, these opportunity missions. I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be in a free roam. The question is whether these like regular missions, crimes, will be in a free roam. What do
I
you
think
think?
those will be. I think they would. Like, it wouldn't make sense to me if they wouldn't. And I think it would be stupid because, like, Rockstar talks about like this big emphasis. Oh, we want role playing and stuff like that, like in the Wild West. But if they do it in like a separate lobby, you don't see people committing crimes, then it's gonna be stupid.
Yeah, and plus they can, introduce some sort of a PvP into that. I don't know. It's quite possible. There will be some. I'm not saying it's gonna be PvP focused activities, but just like with other roles except collector and moonshiner, there will be at least something focused on a PvP side. I still think they will try to make it. Because they're trying to make it all the time, and it's gonna be hard to do if it's not gonna be in a free roam. So yeah, I also think that crimes will be in a free roam, but opportunities will be in a some sort of a private lobbies. And actually, I still think that all these Telegram missions were just a testing for this future, something that they call opportunities now. They were just testing, not even, the missions itself, but how these private lobbies work, whether it's fine or
No,
not.
sometimes I think to myself that Rockstar is just using Reddit Online as like a test, and they're
Yeah.
looking at it and they're saying like, how little content can we give people until they give up? Like sometimes I feel like that's what that's the mindset that they have.
But now, I mean, yeah, I had this feeling a lot, but now it seems like they decided to give us content and more or less constantly, because, this changes to Outlaw Pass system. Instead of one big Outlaw Pass, we're gonna receive 4 small, but each month. And what's your opinion on that, by the way? It's an interesting one.
I think the what do they call quick draw passes?
Yeah.
I think they're good. I think they're better than the Outlaw Pass because the Outlaw Pass I thought was boring at times because oftentimes people would complete most people, would complete it in like, 1 or 2 weeks if you grinded the game, but like some people that grind like crazy could complete it in like 1 or 2 days even. Like even you could just get a bunch of collectibles together and just sell everything and then you'd be able to finish it. So by them doing like a new pass like each month, it's going to bring more, that's going to keep more players on the game because they're going to log in each month because they know that there's going to be an Outlaw Pass there. So there's going to be something to do each month. So I do think that is a step in the right direction. And also the fact that you get all the gold bars back, I think that's good.
I mean, I've heard this argument a lot that it's good for people who used to, give all these collections and max up Outlaw Pass in one day. But I actually disagree with that just because what's the big difference? Let's say now you're gonna give not like 100 collections or whatever it took to level up to the maximum level, but 25. And then next month you will log in and give another 25 and so on. So it's not a big difference, I guess, for such players. They will still level up each Outlaw Passes in the first like hour when it's gonna be released, just because they have a lot of collections in you know in a bag. So I don't think it's gonna change it too much. But yeah, receiving something new each month, it's an interesting. It's again, the question is, why would they need it? Like, why would they need to keep players playing, logging in each month?
So they can make more money, probably.
How? I mean, more people play. Look, as how I saw their monetization system. I mean, they release something big once in half a year, and many people buy like gold bars because they don't have gold. If these players will be playing the next half year, they will accumulate enough gold during this time, and they're not gonna buy anything when the next update will be released. They will stop being poor players or new players, and that's only players that can give real money to Rockstar. So they were not. To me, it looked like they don't even interested in you playing each day or logging in each day. They even more. They don't want you to play each day. They want you to play once in 3 months at best. So you log in, you see that you have no gold, you buy some gold, you get this Outlaw Pass or something, and you like forget about this game in 2 weeks. Because this how they can make maximum profit. There was no way how they can make profit out of me or out of you, out of people with a lot of gold. Especially since they didn't want to release a lot of content. So I mean, my question is because I still have this feeling they want to change something in the monetization. I just can't stand it. We will see whether I'm gonna be correct, because it's interesting. So what's your opinion about this? What do you think? So you said it's not gonna change. It's just they will add more content that you can buy with gold, like the stuff from previous Outlaw Passes, and that's it. And they will expect to get like money.
I'm gonna tell you, they're probably expecting a good boost in sales, right when the Blood Money DLC comes out, because there have been, like, I made a poll on Twitter about this like a few weeks ago, and I asked people, like, I should have it here, but I asked people, like, what they think, like, how would they react if the next update just basically turned out to be crap. And I had 2,000 people voted, and like 21% of people said that they would give the update a chance. 11% of people said if the update was bad, that they would be done with it. And 16% said they would take a break, and 50.3% said that they already stopped playing the game. So there was, a lot of people that have already stopped playing the game. And so what happens is, like, Rockstar might be relying on, like, people that haven't played the game for a long time, because there's gonna be a lot of people who haven't played possibly in, even a year, that are gonna log in, and they're going to they're not gonna have a lot of gold bars, and they're gonna want stuff in the update, and they're like, oh, I'll just buy it and just get it over with. And the same logic, that this happens on like other games, like if the
Exactly.
Cold War and Modern Warfare, like on that game, like they release the battle pass on every season. And the thing is, though, the battle pass, I know it's a bit different than like Red Dead, but like on Call of Duty, like you really need to grind the battle pass. Like starting off, it's pretty easy, but like you need to play consistently if you want to actually finish the battle pass. And so like a lot of players don't actually end up finishing the battle pass because we have work and other things to do, and other games to play at the same time with other friends. And so like leveling up that battle pass in Modern Warfare can be kind of tedious. And then people come in, new battle pass comes in, and they don't want to be left behind, and they're like, okay, you know what, I'll just buy the whole thing and just and that's it.
Yeah,
That's,
but Outlaw Passes in Red Dead Online are not the same. At least they were not the same.
I know
Because
they're much easier.
Yeah,
and they're
much
based
easier.
on XP, unlike Modern Warfare, where it's based on time. It's based on XP in Red Dead.
So do you think it's gonna be changed? So I don't know. Let's say they will make 1,000 experience for the first level of Outlaw Passes, new Quick Draw Club or whatever they call it, and let's say 5,000 experience points for level 25, something like this, some progression to make it harder to complete. At least this sort of a change. You think it's not gonna happen?
Oh, I think it's definitely possible for them to, make the pass harder to grind. They might even get rid of the XP, and they might do something
Mm-hmm.
like Call of Duty where they make it on timer. So they make it on how much you play. That's how much it levels up over time. So
Oh, it's an interesting one.
yeah,
Okay.
and the thing is, I
Uh,
hate that system to tell you the truth.
you
I
do?
really do. I do. I like playing Modern Warfare with my friends, don't get me wrong, but I hate the way the battle pass is in that game that it's based on time. It sucks. It's stupid. It should be based on the battle pass should be based on XP, not on time. And the reason I feel that way is because think about it this way. You play a long match. Like let's say you play a match that's like, goes on for 20 minutes, and you're first place, you capture the most amount of objectives, you do the best out of your team, and the match ends, you are going to get the same amount of XP in that battle pass as even the people on the enemy team that lose and the people on your team that don't contribute as much. And that's not fair because it's based on time. It should be
I
based on
mean,
XP.
we have the same in Red Dead Online. Let's talk about PvP showdowns, right? Yes, the amount of experience and money will be different. At least in not a team-based modes. In a team, you will receive the same amount as other people as in your team. But who cares about money and experience? Well, people only care about gold. Gold is the same for everyone. Whether you've been staying AFK, whether you've been shooting in the wall, whether you've been crushing anyone around with Carcana rifle, you're gonna receive the same amount of gold bars. And that's the only currency that's important right now. So we have this kind of such a system in Red Dead Online as well. Yeah, it's not like fair, but they try to make to reduce the gap between players. I think all these companies, not only Activision, but Rockstar as well, and others as well. So, but I don't like the system as well too. I mean, I don't like it. But you said that this new quick draw club might be based on a time or something else. What about if it's gonna be based on this capitale? I don't know how to say it in Italian, but
That's a good point. People see it's 25 ranks and they think, oh, it's easy to do in a day. Not necessarily. If they change the system, if they cut daily challenges in half, you can really do anything at this
exactly.
point. So it's anything surprises me.
And it's not even gonna be a nerf, if leveling up this quick draw club will require not experience, but let's say this capitale. Just because, it's free, you can enter and do these missions, anyone can do it, any level, so it's like, it's open to anyone. But on the other hand, people who have like tons of collections will not get any advantage here. It's like, you play, you open this Outlaw. I even like this idea. I'm not gonna lie to you. I even like this idea. I don't know. What's your opinion? Whether if they're gonna use this capital, whether it's gonna be a cool one.
I think it'll be cool, but I just what I'm scared about like a few things. Like, the first thing that I'm probably scared about is I'm scared about the homestead robberies turning into a gang attack hideout thing, where you just go to the area and you just clear out a bunch of enemies and you loot a chest in place. I don't want something like that. I think that'll be kind of stupid. I you know I don't want the activities to be repetitive. I want this, to be cool. I want to actually feel like Outlaws. I don't want to constantly no worthy carriage is going to spawn every few hours and go to the exact same location, rob the same carriage, then go back to the same homestead, and then kidnap the same guy and just keep doing that, back to back, back to back. Like I want this to be like different parts of the map. I want like the robberies to be like different from each other, and I just want it to be unique. I don't want it to be repetitive. I want this to be a big update. I even want this to be bigger than Frontiers Pursuits after. We haven't really had a proper update on this game for a year, really. Naturalist was really the last time we actually got an actual update on this game.
But I mean, I think it's gonna be quite repetitive, especially this simple crimes, what they call crimes. I think it's not gonna be, any depth there. I don't really believe they're gonna surprise us here. I mean, opportunities, maybe, but this, how they describe these crimes is exactly what you just said. It's pretty much like analog for So far, it looks like analog for this
So
bandit hideouts, not hangouts.
I'll, I'll
At
tell you
least part
something
of this part. Yeah.
about this specifically. If we look at Rockstar's other game, GTA Online, and we look at how they handled the heist in GTA Online. Now, I know this is not going to be a heist, but that was something that people were. I'm talking about the original heist. People were waiting for that for a long time. And when Rockstar released the heist back in March of 2015, the Pacific Standard and the Fleece and all the Prison Break and all that other stuff, people got really excited and they played that and they had a lot of fun with it. But the problem is that once people unlocked the best heist, which was Pacific Standard, people would just do the Pacific Standard and then they would do the Humane Labs, or they would have their friends start up a Pacific Standard and join them, and then when they're done with that, they would go back to Pacific Standard. And that's all people did. People didn't go back to doing the Fleeca job. They didn't really go back to doing the Prison Break or the Series A. And I know that people would do these and invite, but they weren't as common as Humane Labs and Pacific Standard, because those paid the best. And some of these missions, were really hard for all the heists. And yet some of the heists, the pay was considerably different for that. And so the thing got really repetitive. People got really people did end up getting bored of it. When they released the casino heist, even though it was just one heist, unlike 5, they had like 3 different approaches on that. The stealth, the loud, the big con, and they just had so many different ways of going about it, all the preps, all the different ways that you could go through it, the different gadgets that you could use, and that was cool. And so people played the casino heist, and I had so much more fun with the casino heist than the standard heist. That where it wasn't repetitive. And what I'm scared of them doing is I'm scared of it being like the original heist, where it's going to get something like repetitive. You're going to go back to the same location, rob the same carriage, and just keep doing it over and over and over again, and you're going to get really bored. It'll still be better than naturalists looking for legendary animals, but it's I'm just scared of it getting bored of it really fast, and I really don't want that to happen.
I mean, I might be like thinking too positive about Rockstar, but they said in a newswire talking about these opportunities that there will be different approaches. It just like each opportunity can reveal various approaches to the task at hand. Listening to nearby conversations or look out for important targets to uncover new paths to competition and weaken this political position, blah blah blah. To me it looks like there will be different ways to complete, and here we're gonna be hunting for some jewels of the Wild West, and to get each of these treasures, ruby, diamond, and something they also called. I guess it's gonna be our goal. Anyway, it seems like we're gonna be able to get this in a different way. At least there will be stealth and just kill anyone and something else, some trickness or whatever. You don't trust them when they're saying it. I mean, you have reasons to, but what do you think? Maybe all these opportunities will be at the level of the best heists of GTA Online, not the earliest ones. Maybe they learned the lesson.
Maybe not, but I guess we'll see next week. But what? Also think about it this way: if one of the jobs is gonna be paying you much better than the other jobs, and this goes for the opportunities when they release it, people aren't going to do the other opportunities as much. If there's other that pay much better, a lot of people are going to barely bother with them. So like for instance, if the coach holdups, if those pay much better than the homestead robberies and the kidnappings, then everyone's just going to do coach holdups, and they're not going to do the kidnappings or the homestead robberies nearly as much.
I mean, homestead robberies looks like something random, some random event to me, so I guess they will balance it this way. They can all be
random events.
Yeah, exactly. They can all be random events. So they are saying about all these Guido Martelli dudes who are going all across the country and can give you these missions. Maybe it's like a random NPCs that just spawn in free roam. Who knows? It's quite possible actually. But you said about what if some jobs will have higher payout. I mean, we have the same situation with legendary bounties already, and I'm pretty sure that if Rockstar has a statistics, it will show that, let's say, Etta Doyle, Red Bank Lamson, and Shepard are done like 80% of the time, and like all other bounties are done 20% of the time, at least on 5-star, at least on 5, where people start to, you know, grind, where people repeating missions to grind. So they already have this problem, I think. What do? And I mean, after all, it's fine. It's not even that big of a deal.
But the legendary bounties are those something that you connect to when you play with friends, or you play by yourself. This is more of a free mode activity, and it might get kind of ridiculous if you see everybody just spamming one activity constantly, like spamming coach holdups, and you don't really seem to be kidnapping or doing any homestead robberies.
Yeah, but if it's gonna be random, the problem will be solved. So,
I guess I agree with that. Yeah, if it was random, it'd be solved.
Or there will be cooldown for each specific. By the way, it's quite possible. Let's say they will have a cooldown, just like with legendary animals. Cooldown of, I don't know, 3 days. You complete stagecoach robbery, bam, 3 days you cannot do it. Well, not necessarily 3 days, maybe some sort, and like 24 hours or something. But cooldown or making these events random will solve the problem.
I would agree with that.
Legendary Wolf I see in the chat, so I guess I have to go and kill Legendary Wolf. By the way, since I'm talking about that, let's check. Oh, we have 820 viewers. Hello to anyone. Hello and welcome. If you just joined, we are talking with TheProfessional about the future of Red Dead Online, about this future blood money update. And someone already killed this legendary animal, so I'm free to go. I still cannot find this collectible, so whatever. Let's move on. But so, since we're talking about these opportunities, I mean, first of all, they're not gonna release them all at once. So even they are not equal, even they have different payouts, even if they're differently fun, we still will, at least for some time, like try them all and play them all for quite a long, I guess, because it's gonna be drip feed content basically. But what's your opinion? What's your prediction about these opportunities? Are they gonna be level of, I don't know, Cayo Perico or casino heists? What do you think? Is it gonna be like something really big, but in Red Dead Online?
No, I don't think so. I think if anything, I think it's probably going to be like a big story mission that you unlock, but the difference is going to be that it's going to keep the good pay every time you do the mission. Not it's going to go down like when you did the story mission the first time, because you need Capitale to unlock that mission.
Mm-hmm. And that's it. That's
I think so, like I don't know what else I'm trying to think what else could they do, unless they could choose like the first mission is like involving like a senator, right? So it might be like where you might choose like how to approach the senator, if the senator is like going in by carriage, or maybe he's staying in the hotel in the city, or he's going by train. So there might be like a choice on how to approach him, like maybe he's in different spots every time that you do the mission. But I can't really see them going into detail with like planning and all that other stuff like with GTA Online.
But why? But why it cannot be the same level as GTA Online, at least?
Because I think that they would have given us some more information. They would have said like, oh, you can plan this or something like that. They maybe showed some screenshots of something like choose your approach or something like that. Then I'd be more confident in that. But they said this corrupt like senator, and like a lot of the stuff like we've been disappointed before by Rockstar. So at the same time as if this game had more content at a faster rate and much larger content, then I just would be much more confident in it. But I'm excited for it, but at the same time I'm just really skeptical also. And I don't want to be a buzzkill, but it's just the disasters that we've had on Red Dead Online in the past.
Well, yeah, but again, talking about some disastrous events in Red Dead Online in the past, when they were announcing Naturalist update, I remember that in a Newswire post, they said like not about all the content. There was a lot of content that they were not mentioning about. Like new weapons, for example. They kind of spoiled it on a picture, but they were not mentioning it, and other stuff as well. There was a lot of stuff that they were not actually clear in the newswire. Maybe this time it's the same situation. They're just sharing some piece of information and just will, because Rockstar is not sharing, not doesn't likes to share information too much. So they gave us some information and something is still hidden. I still hope for that, actually.
Yeah, I hope there's new guns in it, and I hope that there's more content in this. Like, I think this will definitely be bigger than Naturalist, but I don't think this DLC is gonna be bigger than the Frontiers Pursuits update. I don't think so.
Because, yeah, it's an interesting comparison. I mean, I think we need, something similar to Frontier Pursuits right now, but I mean, if we're talking about Naturalist, it was not a small update. There were a lot of different stuff. It just was not stuff that we've been asking for, but there were a lot of different items, new weapons. There were a lot of new mechanics. So it's not a small update by any means. It's a pretty big update.
The way I look at Naturalist is, I don't think that Naturalist was a terrible DLC, but I think it was a boring DLC. That was what I think of it. It did have content, did have a lot of legendary animals, did have, the new elephant gun, but at the same time is, like you said, it wasn't something that, we the players have been asking for, and it was, it was just weird also.
Yeah.
Like, it was boring and weird. Like, it was just going around trying to sedate animals, getting their samples, then selling it to this crazy lady who knocks you out for perfume. It was just I just thought it was a weird DLC when people were asking for, bank robberies, let's, own houses and stuff like that. And Rockstar's like, oh, here you go, Naturalist DLC with a crazy lady. That's like, it's like, what?
Yeah, but I mean, the whole idea of this DLC was weird. The whole, topic of DLC, because who cares about sedating animals? You're right, but this time at least, I don't know how they will make this content, but at least the idea, this blood money, robberies, crimes, sounds pretty cool. At least that's way better than we had with the Naturalist. How they gonna execute it, we will take a look. But so far, I like it, because at least they chose the right topic. They chose something that we would like to see. And this one we were talking about, like, new weapons. You said you don't expect new weapons, right? What about M1899? I mean, it's a perfect moment to add this pistol, because crimes.
They could add that, but doesn't, Red Dead Online also take place in 1898? So that might be like
they don't care about it. I mean, we have Browning shotgun, semi-automatic. We have the sedative ammo that was invented in 1960s. So they can call it a prototype or something.
I agree with Andrew there in chat. I really want to see a Mosin gun. That's, a gun that I really want to see in this
and that was already that already existed, actually. So it's
Wasn't
not.
the gun?
Yep.
Where?
At the time, I believe, yes. Last time.
I thought you meant in the game. Yeah, it did. The Mosin gun did exist in the time period, 1891. So they could definitely bring it in.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I've had people tell me like, oh no, they're not going to bring a Russian bolt-action rifle into the Wild West. Well, they brought the Carcano in, which the Carcano is an Italian bolt-action rifle. That's a weird gun to have in the Wild West.
Semi-automatic shotgun, which is Browning. They have Mauser pistol. They have a lot of like foreign weapons.
Yeah.
So it's not a problem.
I definitely like to see a Mosin.
Yeah, but I mean, what can they do to make it different from other rifles?
I mean, there's always something you can do. You can Mosin Nagant could be infantry rifle. Like it doesn't even have to be a sniper rifle like the Gargano. Like maybe add a new bolt action rifle. Maybe maybe do something different where, for instance, maybe the Mosin Nagant has more damage at range or something like that. Like the farther that you go, like the more damage that you'll do. Like something like that. Like I think that might be something cool. Not saying to make it a one shot kill, but like make it make it something different. And if they had like another revolver, what can they do to make it different from others? There's always something they can do in the stats. They just need to look around the stats, mess around with it, and give each rifle something unique and different. And Mosin Nagant has a much longer barrel than the Krag, which is the Springfield or the bolt action rifle, I should say. So you would be able to hit targets or lock on targets at farther ranges with that and the bolt action rifle. At least I could see them doing that with the Mosin. Maybe even add a bayonet to it, but that would require a whole new animation too. So it's
Yeah, but it's something like too much for them to do. They cannot add just new skins for weapons, because basically they're not adding new weapons. They could have add new weapons that will be like almost identical to existing one, but people will still enjoy this type of content because especially the ones who playing for a long time, they want new weapons, even if they mostly look differently. Because people want new horses. All horses are almost the same. Like it doesn't matter, but people still enjoy new horses. But they don't add new horses too often as well, which is kind of weird. Which is kind of weird. What about new horses? What do you think? Will we receive new horses, like completely new, not just different breeds for existing ones, different colors, but like completely?
I think they'll have like one or two new horses. I could see them doing that definitely. But when it comes to new horses, I'm not really much big on the horses. I own two horses, and that's personally enough for me. I understand other players might like it, but what I would like to see is I would like to see horses specifically tied to like wagons, or maybe the ability to like buy a horse and then attach that horse to like one of like the trader wagon or something like that. Because I remember when they released the Frontiers Pursuits DLC, I actually bought the horse that was in the trader pamphlet. So in the trader pamphlet, when you went through that, there was like this one picture of one of the new horses, and you saw a picture of in the pamphlet. You saw it in the catalog about like the horse actually pulling the wagon. And so I bought that thinking that this was gonna be attached to the wagon. Maybe I was a bit naive, but I looked at the picture, I see the horse on the wagon, and I was like, oh, I buy this horse, maybe I'll be able to use this on the trader wagon, and that wasn't the case. And I did make a video talking about this some time ago, but I'd like to see the more horses that would be attached to a specific like hunting wagon, new horse, maybe a faster one, more tough one, maybe something like for trader wagon, make a faster horse, a horse that'll get us across the map quick, because the trader wagon is one of the slowest wagons in the game.
You asking for too much. Even the different horse for our wagons will be already cool, because many people are asking for this. Just like this ability to choose the horse that you want in your wagon. It's already pretty cool, and it's so much easier to do than different stats. But they are still not doing it for some reason. I have no idea why. Because it's something that people even will buy with gold. Let's say you can just change. People, maybe someone is buying liveries for these wagons, but changing horse is way more important in my opinion. But they are not doing it. I don't know why. But maybe they will in this update. Who knows? Who knows? We will see. And so another like interesting moment. They are returning. We were already talking about it. They're returning stuff from previous Outlaw passes. What's your personal opinion on that? Because I saw many people like being like angry because of that. They were saying like, oh, I was buying gold to get in time to buy that Outlaw Pass 4 or to level it up, and now they give it to anyone around. It's not fair. And
is that stuff gonna is the stuff gonna be free, or do you have to grind for it?
No, that stuff from previous Outlaw passes will be available. You will be able to buy it in advance, like old
Well,
costumes and skills.
if it's expensive, I don't think that I don't think that it will be that big of a deal. But I can understand why people would get upset that they played the game at the time,
Yeah.
and now anybody who just gets on the game can just get the outfit that they grinded for. But what I do think that maybe not for the outfits, but that fast travel thing. That fast travel thing should definitely be at the fence because there's a lot of people that missed
Yeah.
out on that. That's essential. Every player should have the fast travel wilderness camp. Every player should have that. So I
And
think that's something
armor
that
as
should.
well. Armor as well should be there. I mean, all
But
the skills.
I
All the skills.
what I was outraged about is remember when Red Dead Online first came out and people were like grinding the game and they I'm trying to remember what level it was, like level 80 or something, that you unlock like explosive rounds and crafting, all the other stuff, and then like a few weeks later like Rockstar gave everybody like a insane amount of like explosive rounds. Remember when they did that? That was like that was I think
But
something
it's not the
ridiculous at that point.
same. I mean, it's obviously gives low levels like an advantage over you. I mean, not a real advantage. It removes your advantage over low levels, and I completely understand why it pisses many players off. And Rockstar loves to do it. They loves to give away explosive ammo and dynamite arrows for some reason. They just spam it. I mean, I never need to craft any of explosive rounds if I'm gonna use them, because I have like I don't know, maybe even 1,000 for each weapon in my mailbox. They just give it all the time. It's kind of weird. I think they try to encourage PvP that way. Because otherwise new players will not attack anyone they see, just because they will die constantly, since other players have ability cards, explosive ammo, and huge advantage tonics, obviously. So I understand why it disappointed you when you saw how they given away this explosive ammo. But costumes is a little bit different thing. But on the other hand, I understand people who are a little bit angry because they were like they had this exclusive items that they were working for, and now Rockstar giving it to anyone else. Man, it's a little bit weird to me. So someone in the chat, they are saying, people are saying that we almost have 1,000 viewers. Hello to anyone who joined.
Congratulations.
Yeah, hello and welcome. I don't remember whether we reached 1,000 in our last stream with you, but maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it's just too big.
I see one guy wrote that he thinks this Say Regati would be cool. I think that would be probably a disaster. Do you know what that is?
No.
The Say Regati that works for Sally Regati, that's an Italian semi-automatic rifle. It actually has the same stock as the Carcano carbine, I believe, and it fires the same cartridge as the Carcano. But it was like a experimental semi-automatic
Dude.
Italian rifle, and I think that would not be good if they added that
It's just
Red Dead
terrible
Online.
idea. I mean, semi-automatic weapon plus auto aiming that we have in Red Dead Online. It's just bad.
Even if the
It's-
semi, I don't think personally, and I know that I understand the perspective that some people think that it would be cool, but at the same time, is you have to understand that adding a semi-automatic weapon to that game could easily break the game and kind of ruin the immersion. I understand these guns existed at the time, but like a semi-automatic rifle, like in that time period, would be like really difficult to acquire. And even so, even if the rifle doesn't do nowhere near as much damage as like a bolt action or the repeater, it's semi-automatic, which means it's going to have a much faster fire rate than any other rifle in the game. It's going to have an even faster fire rate than the varmint rifle because it's semi-automatic, and that means that anyone can just use painted black with that thing, instantly go for headshots, and just waste like tons of people. And that could be the next varmint rifle. It could be even worse. So I don't think that that would be. I have no problem with semi-automatic pistols because a pistol is something different. It's actually close range, and they've existed in Red Dead games. But like I don't want anything for like long distance to like be a semi-automatic rifle. I think that would I understand the perspective, but I think that it would kind of ruin the immersion in a Wild West game.
Out of context, but Cal Morale asks, did I hear a cat meow? And yeah, my cat just came to me and said meow for some reason. I don't know, maybe he says hello or something else. He just said it and left. So he went to some other corner of the room. Which basically, yeah, probably he said hello to all the viewers and to you, Patrick. It makes sense. He's a very gentle and, good cat. That's what good cats do. They say hello. But, I mean, you're talking about semi-automatic rifle. I don't think we should be afraid of that. I don't think Rockstar will add it, at least now. I mean... They are not adding something like Buffalo rifle, something like M1899, something like Mosin Nagant rifle, but definitely they're not gonna add semi-automatic. So we don't have to be afraid. Oh, since we talked about this semi-automatic rifle in a context of breaking the balance, what do you think? Will they make changes to to balance? Ability cards, weapons, tonics maybe. Do you expect that from this Blood Money update?
I don't know, but like my main concern is I personally want something to be done about like the tank builds, because I think that it's I think that it's getting a bit ridiculous, when I get into combat with people in PvP, and like you can use a bunch of damage cards. I'm not a PvP player myself, but use a bunch of damage cards in the game, and use express ammo, and use really powerful guns, and you'll just pump their upper chest with just so much ammo. Like, you'll shoot them like 5 or 6 times with express rounds from a bolt-action rifle, and they'll still be alive. And even if you combine that with, ability cards that give you a bit more damage, they'll still be alive. And all they do is just take out the stupid Lancaster repeater, just pop you once in the head, and that's it, you're dead. I want something done about the tank because it's getting frustrating that they take so much in the chest and then this one shot in the head and that's it, it's done. I mean, maybe what they could do is maybe make it so that every single gun in the game does more damage to the chest, to the body. And maybe that will, like, headshots should still be one-hit kills because it's the head, but, like, do it so that, like, damage to the chest does more damage. Just so that not everyone is reliant on headshots.
It will break balance as well, just because, weapons like sniper rifles that you mostly going for a chest shots anyway will be even stronger, and they're extremely strong right now.
You don't have to. You don't have to put this on every gun. Like sniper rifles.
Oh, some weapons.
Sniper rifle is already doing an insane amount of damage, so I get it. I understand why you wouldn't want them to do more damage, but like a bolt-action rifle, for instance, with express rounds, if you put, and I understand, some ability cards give people more health. I get that, and I'm not trying to complain about that, but I'm saying that sometimes it gets ridiculous to the point where you just shoot somebody in the chest that many times, and they take out a Lancaster and just once in the head, and that's it. It's done. I think that's I think personally that's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, but I mean, there are lots of problems, and it's not the only problems. There are tons and tons of. If you will ask, like, even not even like PvP players, but average player, what would you think needs a nerf in Red Dead Online if we're talking about mechanics? You will see different answers, and which is kind of weird. Many of these answers will be correct. Like, people will say tonics, people will say painted black needs a nerf, and yeah, it does. But people will say tank build, which is, in my opinion, it's mostly tonics. When we're talking about tank build, we're mostly talking about tonics, not even ability cards. But in combination, yes, they do tank build. And some people will say sniper rifles, like Arcana, and I agree with that as well. So my point is, there is a lot of stuff that, like, needs a balance. And the question is now, like, what do you think? Will they change something, or it's not gonna happen because they have not changed too much in the Naturalist update, for example. In 2020, they haven't changed pretty much anything about PvP. They fixed some bugs, but changes, no. They were not done anything.
I'd like to see something done so that not everyone is reliant on headshots. But like I know they tried to do that in the past before, but I just I like PvP in this game. I have fun with it, but I just personally think it's, in my opinion, it's just frustrating sometimes when every single match that you go into, everybody's just going for the head like instantly. Maybe add free aim lobbies, maybe that could solve the issue, but I would just like something so there's something of an incentive to go for body shots at times because. It just not even gunslingers in the Wild West, not even they would go for the head. They would just go for the upper chest. That's just my opinion. And I know I know the purpose of a tank build. I saw some of the comments. I understand what people are saying. But like I said, just I understand a tank build should give you more health. I'm not debating that. But I'm saying, like, if you've seen sometimes when I get into fights with these people, the amount of shots that I put into them. And the fact that they can, drink all these tonics and, just brush it off like it's nothing. It's one-shot Lancaster to my head after I, literally pump, like, 2 magazines of, like, bolt-action rifle into them. That's a bit ridiculous. And I saw one comment from Lone Stoner Gaming. He says that defensive builds are for people who mind their business and fight back against griefers. I understand that perspective, but I've been griefed by a lot of people in Reddit Online that abuse the tank builds. Like, I've had people, that jump my, like, trader sales, and they abuse those tank builds, and it gets so ridiculous that sometimes I have to pull out explosive rounds and just keep shooting them as they're getting up. That's how powerful some of those tank builds that those people make are.
But there is a balance. I mean, especially if you're talking about fights in a free roam, one-on-one fights. You see, the thing with tank build is when you use slow and steady, you like always gonna lose to other sniper if he's gonna take the distance, keep the distance. And with Korkan rifle, you're just not gonna be able to do something just because you move too slow. If you only in a sniper fight, tank build gonna lose to like just a person with tonics, because he's not afraid of being headshot, and you moving extremely slowly. You cannot, move from side to side, like shift, fast, and you gonna eat like way more shots than he does.
Well, I get that, and I think that which I saw some people mention Slippery in the chat. I actually don't think that Slippery is that broken. Like, maybe in the past it was, but I get that because you don't want people, like, it's a counter to getting to people to locking onto your head is using Slippery. And my counter to Slippery is I have a semi-automatic shotgun, so whenever I go into PvP, I'll be running bolt action rifle and semi-automatic shotgun, and whenever somebody rushes me with Slippery, I just take out the semi-automatic shotgun and I kill them, because with the semi-auto shotgun I don't really have to worry about that much accuracy at close range, so I can kill them pretty quick, and people usually they don't expect that. And I did see one guy in the chat who told me, why don't you just go for headshots? Who says I don't? I do go for headshots also, but the point that I'm making is that it's abused too much, that people, it shouldn't be the point where everybody's just going for headshots. It should be, there should be some incentive to go for body shots besides snipers.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just the different points of view on what things are broken. But the question is, what's your opinion, personal opinion, whether Rockstar is gonna be doing some changes? Because they were not doing any changes for a long time.
Probably not.
Not?
Probably not. I don't see what else they could do. I would like I remember they had a mode some time ago that I liked. I don't know if it's still in the game. Somebody probably knows what I'm talking about. There's a mode. Yeah, it was the one with no ability cards.
Yeah, it's right now. It's right now this week. It's in the game. It's sometimes they move it away, and sometimes they add it back. It's my favorite one. It's not only not ability cards. It's actually no tonics, no what they have, no auto aiming, and you cannot choose weapons. Only weapons that are preset you can use. It's
I would
hardcore.
love it if there was a free mode that had no ability cards. Like there was, two free modes. You could join like maybe a hardcore free mode, like one like that. Like if they made something like that with just no ability cards. I know there's not that many players in the game right now, so it might split the player base. So I kind of get why they might not do it. But maybe when they increase the player base in the future, I'd like to see like a mode that mode where there's no ability cards. And no, I disagree with Neil. Like when I'm playing with people, there's people that are there's people that are much better than me, Neil. Like there's people that are I'm by no means like amazing at PvP, but there's people that are much better than me, and like people that I know that are like level 700, and they complain about the tank builds. So like I'm not the only one that like says that this is a problem. So oh, survival mode. I agree with that, Jack. There should definitely be a survival mode. That would be cool.
Yeah, so it's an interesting. I wonder actually when they do some changes to free roam, to give us some free roam lobbies with a different set of rules. What do you think? If it's gonna happen ever? Like you said, this hardcore, for example, free roam, no ability cards, no tonics.
Would you like something like that?
I would like to see something like that. But what do you think? Whether they
Oh,
gonna
I
add
would
some?
I would love a hardcore mode with like maybe yeah, no ability cards. I don't think, I mean, maybe don't cut all tonics, because tonics do help you against NPCs, but like no ability cards. If they had no ability cards in a free mode, I think that would be kind of cool. So maybe have a hardcore version of it. But the reason that Rockstar doesn't do it, and the reason they haven't had free aim lobbies, even though people have been asking them for free aim lobbies for a long time, is because Red Dead Online does not have anywhere near the player base that GTA Online has. And so on
Yeah.
GTA Online, when you go into free aim lobbies on GTA Online, you can you can find sessions that are oftentimes empty. Like if you want to find a session that's empty quicker, you just go into free aim and you just keep searching until eventually you'll find like a session with just one or two people in it. It'll eventually happen. If you go into if they had like free aim lobbies in Red Dead Online and you went into that, there would be like you'd find empty lobbies a lot. It would be very frequent. So I think that their view is they probably don't want to split the community. That's probably why they want the lobbies to stay as populated as possible, just so more people are playing together. Not necessarily so people kill each other, but because they want more like people to play together. So maybe when the game has more people in the future, maybe they'll do something like that. But I'd love to see like a hardcore version of free mode. I think that would be cool.
Well, if in this blood money we will receive something significant, it might happen that the game will be more popular, and then, like you said, they will do some stuff and not be afraid of splitting the community. Well, but what do you think? If let's say if this update blood money will be good, and by good I mean something like, let's say, Frontier Pursuits. Let's say we will receive Frontier Pursuits 2.0. Whether it gonna like make Red Dead Online popular, or it's still gonna be more or less the same.
I think that after that like there was two games that I can think of at the top of my head that were disasters. And there was that No Man's Sky game. Even though I didn't play it, I know that game, a lot of people were disappointed in that game when it came out, and they were expecting much more from it. And eventually, what happened was the game made a comeback. I believe, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I know No Man's Sky, they made a bunch of new updates which got people more happy, and much more people got into the game. And then there was that other game, Fallout 76, which that game had an even bigger disaster than No Man's Sky. And that game over time has actually attracted, Fallout 76 has actually attracted more players over time, because they've added NPCs to the game. They've added more quests and more stuff to do in that game. And I know the game still has serious issues. I'm not denying that. Bethesda seriously messed up, but they have attracted a lot more players to the game by listening to the community at times. And so those two games were such a disasters, and they're slowly coming back. I'm confident that a game like Red Dead Online could easily come back, and the fact that it's Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a really popular game, they make some good DLCs on this. I think that a lot of people could come back in this game. But I think the DLC that could attract the most amount of people in this game, if they ever do like a map expansion, if they ever bring Mexico into the game, if they ever do that, I guarantee you that update would attract so many people to the game because there's a whole group of players, I'm sure you know it, that refuse to play Red Dead Online. They think that Red Dead Online is garbage and they only play the single player. So they'll only play a single player, and the single player is a masterpiece, but they don't play Red Dead Online at all. And if you added a map expansion, I'm fairly confident that even the people that say the online is a disaster, I think that even those people would play the online if you added a map expansion.
Yeah, maybe it will attract a lot of players, but I mean the problem will still remain, just like we have now, and probably it's not going to be solved in Blood Money. Unfortunately, it's that we still have nothing to spend money. We don't have something like property, some big purchases.
Yeah, that was what I wanted to ask you about because the money in Red Dead Online is it's personally, frustrating me a lot. Like, we're in GTA Online, it would be very difficult to grind at times, and it was made grinding easier over time. In this game, Red Dead Online, it's much easier to make money than in GTA Online, even though the cash, it's different, but the dollars, the value of them, they are more expensive than GTA Online. But the rate that you earn money in Red Dead Online is a much better rate than what you earn in GTA Online. Because in Red Dead Online, you can use the collector map, and you can make hundreds of dollars, to hundreds of dollars in a day. You can have your moonshine business producing, the trader thing producing, run bounty missions, and do all that at once. So you can make, a good chunk of cash. And there's players, like you said earlier in the stream, that have over $1 million in this game. Like, I don't even play Red Dead Online as much as I used to. I usually play the game, 1 to 2 days a week when I stream, and I have over $100,000 in the game, like 160,000 something. I have almost 600 gold bars, and it's starting to piss me off in a way because I have all this money, and yet I'm so rich, like I'm filthy rich in the game, and there's people that are much more rich than me, and yet there's nothing really to spend money on except clothes. It's like I'm hoarding all this money for basically nothing. That's one guy says, look at that, 9,700 gold bars, $1.5 million.
Yeah, there are
there's
quite a
plenty of
lot
people that
such
have,
players. Yeah, I think there are many. But okay, so the point is they messed up with economy, right? And they need to fix it somehow. There are two ways I see how they can fix it. Add something that's gonna be extremely extremely expensive, but it's not that good because it will annoy new players. Because let's say you add mansion that will cost 1,000 gold bars, 1,000, and people who are complaining that there is nothing to spend your money on will be kind of happy because they will be able to finally they will be able to spend this money. But vast majority of players will be pissed off because they will know there is no way they will ever earn grind 1,000 gold bars. It's just almost impossible, especially now after the gold system nerf, daily challenge system. So
make it so that expensive item that you're talking about, make it so that there's a cash and a gold option. Because if you only put gold, players are going to feel like they have to buy microtransactions to get that gold. Cash is, in general, with the activities in the game, is easier to earn than gold bars. So, make it so maybe you said 1,000 gold bars, maybe the house would be $100,000 or something like that. $100,000, that might sound like a ridiculous amount of money, but over time, it's an achievable goal, even if you don't play the game that much. If you sign in once a week and you grind, do a bunch of missions, eventually you'll get around to it. So I think that
I mean, look, it's if you're gonna grind, and realistic number is, I would say, 150 hours to get $1,000. It's a lot. It's quite a lot. It's gonna put many players away once they gonna realize 100,000 is a lot. It's not like something that you will play, few hours a week, and some YouTubers are trying to sell the idea that it's super easy to earn 1,000 per hour in this game. No, it's not. For most players, it's unachievable. If you've been playing for a long time and you have all the roles and you've been doing it every day for the last 2 years, yeah, you can earn $1,000, and it's gonna be a hard grind. It's almost like a job at this point. it's achievable. But for most players who, grinding but casually, I would say it will take 150 hours, and it's quite a lot of time. So it's still not going to be achievable for new players. And Rockstar realize it, not even for new players, for casual players, and there are a lot of casual players right now. So I think they will go to some other solution. And this new currency, whether it looks, I know not many people will like this idea, but I definitely see that Rockstar might do it. And now it's gonna be a perfect moment. It's not the best solution, it's not the best fix to economy, but boom, and they have new economy, like inside of the general economy, they have sub-economy with currencies that you can only earn doing special activities, some specific activities, and that you can spend on some items. Let's say some items. And you can buy it with real money. And for Rockstar, the problem will be solved, at least for some time. So I'm not quite sure whether I like this solution. Probably not, because Rockstar will mess it up. But it's possible. It's just something that I'm a little bit concerned, because again, it's something that I said at the beginning of the stream. So far, I don't see how Rockstar will try to monetize this update. And people forget that Rockstar is a company. They focused on profits. They're not gonna add content just because they love you, me, or other players. They will add it to make money. And so far, it looks like they have content. And I have a question without the answer, like how they are gonna make money. So I don't know, what's your personal opinion? Like two questions here. Like, first, is it possible that we're gonna receive new currency that we will be able to purchase with real money, this capital? And second, whether you like this idea or not.
I don't like the idea of spending real money on the Capitale. I think that it should just be something that's in the game. And some players might get pissed also if the Capitale allows you to, access even maybe a new gun, or just access to better roles, or even abilities or something like that. People might feel like it's a pay to win at that point.
It is, yeah.
But I wouldn't want to. I mean, don't remember it was the Outlaw Pass. It was, what was it, 4 or 5?
Fourth.
Had like a little bit.
Yeah.
It had the pamphlet thing. So it was where you were able to hold more ammo. So that was that was an issue. So people could buy it, and then they would hold more ammo than other players. But also, I want to say, it was actually easier to earn money in the past with the in Reddit Online, because they had the daily challenges. The daily challenges were when they were regular amounts, now they've been cut in half. And also, I made money guides in the over a year ago, at what was it, last year, early spring, 2020, where it was that you could make $5,000 in a day. That was achievable. I've done it before, but you would need to play pretty much the entire day, and you would need to use the collector map, and you would get all the collectibles, the earrings, the necklaces, the bracelets. If you got all those together, plus you had the trader producing, and you sold the moonshine business every 48 minutes. If you played for 6 hours, 7 hours a day, you could make around $5,000. But now, if the collector map, you don't know where all the jewelry is. It's all randomized. You can still make a good amount of money from it, but it's not the same amount that you were able to make before. And so what happened was, you got a lot of players that ended up stacking themselves with a lot of cash, and now newer players that are coming in the game, and they're not able to make money at the same rate that a lot of these other veteran players were. And so there's I would say a massive wealth gap there between the new players and the veteran players.
Exactly, but if they will introduce this new system, there will be no gap between new players, veteran players. Just play and earn this new currency. It's free for everyone, because it sounds promising. And you said if it's gonna be pay to win, it's not necessary it has to be pay to win. If there will be some cool, basically this capital is like a role. Some people will have to farm it, and some people will be able to, like, to buy a role, let's say naturalist, you need a gold, right? Some people earned this gold before buying the naturalist, and some just went and bought it in the shop. The same thing might be like with the capital. You just either you grind this new currency and then have access to this how they call it, opportunities, which is basically, let's say it's a heist, right? Let's pretend it's a heist. You get access to this heist, or you just go and buy this capital with real money because you don't want to spend your time on boring crime missions that are happen in a free roam and basically copy pasted from stranger missions, let's say. And here you go, you have access to heist, something you was always wanted to see. I'm not saying it's good. I have to stress this out. I'm just saying that looking from Rockstar's perspective, it's an awesome way to fix things and earn some money, to fix economics, and to make like all the player base customers. Because right now, not you, not me, not the dude who said that he has $1.5 million and like, I don't know, 9,000 gold bars, we are not customers for this company. There is no way they can get any sort of money from us. New currency changes it. There are different ways to implement it. I'm just talking about the idea in general. Let's say there will be no pay to win. Let's say there will be just like I described right now. People will just buy it just, to avoid grinding for the heist. They just want the heist. And they can go and buy this capital. How do you like this idea then? What's your opinion? And whether it's possible?
If they can just buy the heist, you mean?
Yeah, entrance. So as far as I can tell from the newswire, this capital
You mean
will
like with cash
open.
in the game?
Yeah, just like you need to earn some sort of a capital to be available to, to complete this opportunity mission, which is, I guess, is gonna be a heist. But let's say they will make it a new currency. Let's say they will buy it for dollars. So people who don't want to spend the time on grinding this capital to enter, and they just want to go like straight to this heist from the level 1, I don't know, they will be able to buy it in the shop and just go do heists.
I don't know how I feel about that. I think it should be a feature in the game where if you spend like cash, not real money, but like cash that you earn in the game, and you can
No,
unlock,
I was talking about money. I was talking about real money, not the cash in the game.
Real money.
Yep.
Real money. Then no, I don't think so. I think that would just that might be a way that they might try to monetize it.
Yeah.
I think that would be I think that would be I think a bit ridiculous that people would be spending real money to like unlock the heist because they don't feel like doing the other missions in the game. No, I think I think that would be a really bad idea. But I'm not against them doing it where it's cash in the game. So like I don't know, like let's say that the opportunity pays you out, like let's just say it's like $500 or something like that, just for sake that's how much it pays you out. And then you could put like, I don't know, $200 into it, and then you would be able to start the mission up, and you're not making $500, but you're making $300 for like completing a mission, and it's because people they probably don't feel like they don't feel like grinding the other missions. I get that people have jobs, they're not able to to play all the time, they're not able to grind and do all these missions, and so I can see people totally like paying for that, but I wouldn't want it at the same time to just to make the other activities seem pointless. I'd still want people to do the other activities just so that there's more life in the world and just so there's more stuff to do in general.
Yeah, I mean, you said like to pay in-game currency, in-game dollars to this new activity. I don't think why Rockstar would do that. There is no point for them to do it. Like, yeah, you would like to see it as a player, and I would like to see it, but why would Rockstar do so? You see, the question is that I'm trying to bring from the beginning of the stream is like, how Rockstar is going to, I still don't get it, like, how they are going to make money on this update. Let's say they've made a hit, and they know it. Let's say this opportunity is a heist, and pretty cool ones. So everyone will be happy in Red Dead Online, but they just don't care whether we're happy or not. They care about money, and the question is how's it gonna try to
I was
make.
thinking that maybe their intention is not to make money with this DLC, but to make money over time. Maybe
Maybe.
their intention is to use this DLC as as somewhat of an investment. That they look at this, they release this big DLC and they give a lot of stuff to people for free. And then people, a lot of more people get into the game. New people play because it was free on Xbox, I believe. So there's a lot of more players
Yeah.
on Reddit Online now. So that's going to attract a lot of players in the game. They haven't, we've had, nothing but crap updates, for some time. And now they release this big update, and it's, a lot of it is free. That's going to get a lot of players in the game. And what they might try to use that is, okay, we increase our player base. Now the next update that we're going to do, we're going to try to monetize this much more. That's what they might do. So they might try to use this as kind of an investment to attract more players. And then the next update, whenever that comes out, maybe let's say December, that they will, they'll have much more monetization into it. That's what they might be doing. So they might expect players to play over time and stuff. And also the opportunities that are coming out, those might be monetized. So that those opportunities that come out like a month or two, along the way with drip fed, they might have something that might be monetization in that.
But I mean, they promise that there will be no. They just said that it's gonna be free of charge. All this stuff that connected.
Well,
to
didn't they say in the
Mafia.
newswire? They said that I would have to read the newswire post, but didn't they say that it was like the upfront start would
Yeah.
be free or something like that? That is also, make sure you keep that in mind. That's important. They said upfront. I have to find them trying to find the sentence exactly here. And no upfront investment is required. That's what it says
Yep.
in the newswire. So that when they say no upfront investment, that might be like the initial mission that you started out with, but that's very. And I'm not trying to get into conspiracies here about Rockstar, framing this, but like you can't really blame me for being suspicious with this, considering what they've done in the past. So they might do something, and when they might release a second opportunity, and that might be monetized, and then Rockstar's response might be, oh well, we said the first one, the upfront investment there's no upfront investment required, or something like that. You never know what they could do. So there could be just something, something sketchy there. There could be something different.
Yeah, it's possible, but I still hope that your previous predictions that now they are, just investing in the future and trying to get as many new players as they can and monetize later is correct, because it's a best case scenario. Maybe
It
for
also builds the morale
them
up
as
for the
well.
community.
What?
That also builds the morale up for the community because
Yeah.
people come back to the game and they kind of see somewhat the developer cares that the last DLC most of it is free, and that's what they should have done with like the last Outlaw Pass when they had Outlaw Pass 5. Like I think what pissed people off so much is that they dropped this Outlaw Pass, didn't give you all the gold bars back, and they didn't have any content with it. But if they made a single post on the newswire, and they said in that post on the newswire like a few months ago when they released that Outlaw Pass, and they said like, listen guys, we've been busy with stuff, COVID is happening, but what we're giving you guys while we prepare for it, we have a much larger update plan. Here's a little bit of a teaser for it. In between here, we have Outlaw Pass 5 for you guys free of charge. That's what they should have done. If they did something like that, I guarantee you, the community, some people would have still been pissed that there's no content for some time, but they would have said it, at least, they're admitting that they're busy right now. They're developing a new update. They gave us a teaser of it, and they're giving us Outlaw Pass 5 for free as a good gesture. But they just dropped Outlaw Pass 5, expected people to buy it, had no real content to it, and they're surprised why people, are outraged or why people are pissed off. It's just,
Not,
So that was-
not
that was
sure
horrible
whether
how
they
they handled it.
surprised. I don't think it was a surprise for them, because they.
sometimes I feel.
Yeah.
Oh, you finish. I'm sorry.
No, I mean it looks like they knew this update is not update, but Outlaw Pass is gonna be a disaster. That's why they had no, not that brought not that many attention to it. They just dropped it and that's it. Like, here you go, like, eat it, see ya.
Sometimes I feel like they're like in some big boardroom and like the Rockstar people are just sitting at the boardroom, and then there's like a Take-Two executive, and they're like, yeah, this is not a good idea. That's what Rockstar Games says. And then the Take-Two executive, no, it's the bottom line that matters, and they slam the table. We're gonna make money from gold bars, and that's it. That's like, I always feel like the executives just come in and they just dictate what the game should be like, and they just ruin it just to try to make as much money as as possible.
Well, yes, that's reasonable, but on the other hand, they not even trying to make as much money as possible. So there are so better ways for them to make money out of this game, considering it's still relatively popular game. You said like how Fallout 76 succeed, and Fallout 76 has less players than Red Dead right now, Red Dead Online. And Red Dead Online is at the lowest point. Because Red Dead Online standalone plus some part of players who play Red Dead Redemption 2, last time I checked, this amount was bigger than players who play in Fallout 76. Even at the point where Fallout 76 was in a good shape. So Red Dead Online is really popular game service, but they are not making too much money out of it, so I don't know what's going on, but we're gonna see
They probably.
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, finish.
No, I said we're gonna see it like next week. What's the plan? I'm pretty sure it will be like more clear for us what's the plans for this game.
Well, I think what happened is I think that Rockstar probably had plans to do way more content for Red Dead Online, because I don't think that they planned this out, that this was going to be like, just neglected this badly. I think that what happened is they were probably expecting to make massive amounts from the online, because the Red Dead Online got hyped up really badly, right? When like Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, and then people were really hyping up Red Dead Online, which was going to release like in a month after Red Dead Redemption 2. And so Rockstar was probably expecting, I wouldn't say they were expecting the exact same amount of revenue as GTA Online, but they were expecting, a good source of it. I'd say, maybe 60, 70% or of what GTA Online was making. That's still, a massive amount if you take a look at the amounts what they've made from shark cards. And what happened was they did not have the same enthusiasm. People didn't have the same enthusiasm for Red Dead Online as a GTA Online. One of the reasons for that was because GTA Online didn't get as popular as it did until a few years in, until like mid 2015 is when it started getting more popular with the bigger, larger updates like the heist and the businesses in 2016. But GTA Online was kind of popular at launch, but died down. Didn't get big until the updates, and that's Red Dead Online. They were probably expecting all this hype and all these players to just play at launch, and that they didn't have any, not that much content, and player base died down. And they released like Frontier Pursuits. They made some money from it, and then after that they said, we're not making nearly as much money as GTA Online, so we're not going to put that much effort into it. At least that's probably what I think happened. They didn't see that it was making enough money. Sorry for talking a little bit there, but it's just I think that it was just I think they saw the revenue, they weren't making as much money from it, and they kind of gave up with it.
I doubt it's the case, because it was way too optimistic for them to expect even 60% of the GTA Online's revenue right from the beginning. I think even 10% would be like a happiness for them. Plus I'm not quite sure whether they are that stupid to expect to make a lot of money from the beginning, and I don't know why they have added this gold bar magazine to the game in the beta. It was such a foolish decision in my opinion, and it has some
I remember when you used to get $2 for missions.
Yeah,
I remember that.
And we had like no, but we were earning gold at the same rate, except there were no daily challenges back then, so it still was like 1 gold bar per hour at best. But there were nothing to spend it on, to be honest. Like, there were no Outlaw Passes or rolls or something.
I wanted to ask you, though, like, what do you think about that? And I saw, like, one guy in the comments earlier, like, he brought up a good point where it was, like, about the upfront investment. We were talking about that. And, like, what one guy said, that Rockstar wouldn't say anything on it. The Rockstar fanboys would defend them over it. And that's the thing, is why do you think that Rockstar does not get the same amount of criticism as other companies? Like, for instance, like EA. I know that Rockstar is not the publisher Take-Two is, but like, for instance, EA does like a lot of really bad things, and they get shamed for it. And don't get me wrong, they deserve it. But the same thing is that Rockstar will do, a bunch of, bad things, like, what they did with the online here, of Red Dead Online, and they don't get shamed or attacked, even by the gaming journalists. The gaming journalists just really suck. So like, they don't get the same amount of criticism as other developers, even though they may do the same thing. They don't get the same amount of criticism as other developers, and I think that that is because of a lot of fanboyism attitude. That there are people that see, oh, they're the people that make the GTA games. They make a lot of this stuff, and so there's this, people around them that just refuse to criticize them even if they're wrong. I love Rockstar, at least in the past I did. When I played GTA 4, I praised them for what they did in 2008. I say, like, this was an amazing game, it's beautiful, but they just don't, today in 2021, I don't feel like they have the same level of criticism as other developers. I feel like people refrain from criticizing them.
Okay, I would disagree with you partly because from community they have insane amount of criticism. Just go at every Twitter post they post, or let's go check like dislike ratio on the, let's say, bounty hunters update on the YouTube page, and check the comments. They being criticized like insanely. But I agree with you about gaming journalists that they don't criticize Rockstar too much. And you know what? Because gaming journalists, it's gonna be a bummer right now. They don't care about games. Like, they don't care about games. They care about, equality. They care about human rights. They care about whether someone is crunching or not. And you know what? Take-Two is like a super company in their eyes, because yes, there were crunches in Rockstar. There was a scandal a few years, and you know what they did? They said, okay, we're gonna fix it. We're not gonna crunch anymore. And it seems like they are not crunching anymore, at least in wealthy countries. Probably people in India are still crunching like they used to, but in wealthy countries where everyone goes and says in the Twitter that, oh no, I've been crunching, I couldn't drink my decaffeine coffee 10 times today. They have perfect this working conditions. And have you seen E3 from Take-Two? E3 conference. Have you seen it?
E3, I don't think I saw that one. I
Oh,
didn't even really watch E3. I was just the people that said E3 sucked. There was like no games
yeah.
shown, but it
I
was just I
mean, Take-Two
didn't
had
really
a
watch it.
conference. Take-Two had a conference. And everyone was thinking they're gonna announce something, but obviously it was not the case.
The people that thought it was GTA 6 were being dumb.
Yeah,
There's no
not
way they
even
were gonna show
GTA 6. Of course, there were rumors about GTA 6, but at least something. Anyway, but they announced that it's gonna be just a conference of people talking about equality, summer of gaming they call it, and there were some developers who work at different Take-Two companies, and they were talking about how like it's cool to work for everyone for Take-Two, and they were talking about this for like 2 hours. I'm not kidding. Not about the games. It's just like, okay, so I'm woman. I work at Take-Two. It's awesome. We love everyone, and so on. So gaming journalists love this stuff. They don't care about games. They don't care that Rockstar, I don't know, not supporting Red Dead Online or nerfing the daily challenge system, or let's say Rockstar is banning a lot of people in GTA Online for doing a glitch, for viral glitch from TikTok. They don't care about that. But these things that they care about, well, Rockstar is pretty fine company in their eyes. Why would they criticize? So I disagree with you that Rockstar's not receiving that much of a criticism from community. I see a lot of criticism. Most that I see is a criticism from players.
You remember though, a few years ago, when Red Dead Redemption 2, it wasn't even released, when it was coming out, and there was that report that leaked that said about like the developers of like Red Dead Redemption 2, how they're working like 6-7 days a week
Yeah.
with like no break, and that the developers are just being like really they're being really pushed by like Rockstar and by Take-Two. people weren't really talking much of, like the gaming journalists weren't really talking about that these people, these developers were being like worked like hell on Red Dead Redemption 2 with like no breaks, and Take-Two didn't really even deny it. They just said like, I think they were like, we're putting a lot of effort into like Red Dead Redemption 2 or something. They didn't even say, oh, we're not even working on workers like this, which, that's
Yeah,
kind of
they
messed up.
admitted.
I don't.
They admitted for sure. But as I remember, they admitted and said, yes, it's happening, and we're gonna fix that. That's what happened. And actually, that's answers that journalists are looking for.
I don't even mind if the game is like, delayed by like even a few months. I don't want somebody overworking themselves just to like, and damaging their health just to release the game earlier. But like a lot of people didn't see it that way. They just, all they cared about was just Red Dead Redemption 2 coming out as soon as possible, and they didn't care about the health of the of those developers. I'm not talking about the CEOs. I'm just talking about like the people that are on the ground, like making the game, and like the levels, and the voice acting and all the other stuff there. But when I was talking about criticism before, I kind of agree with you that I fully understand what you're talking about, because when you look at like the Outlaw Pass, like the last one, Outlaw Pass 5, you go to that YouTube video on Rockstar's page, it has so many dislikes, and all the top comments are just people criticizing them. If you go on Rockstar's Twitter and they talk about like Outlaw Pass 5, it'll be people that are just talking about them, and criticizing them. I get that, but when I say that they don't have the same criticism as EA, I'm talking about more like just overall, because if you go to a Rockstar page, obviously you're going to see that criticism because there's fans of the game that are pissed off. And I'm not just talking about journalists, but I'm talking about like people as like a whole highlighting this issue online. Because for instance, let's compare it to the loot box controversy on Battlefront 2. Now Battlefront 2 sold a lot of units, but it didn't sell the same amount as Red Dead Redemption 2. But everybody knew about the loot box controversy when it happened. Not even if you didn't even play Battlefront 2, everybody knew what EA did with the loot boxes.
Because it's not Battlefront, dude. It's a franchise of Star Wars. Star Wars is a massive franchise. It's not comparable to Red Dead Redemption. It's just insane how big it is. So it was connected. Battlefront is Star Wars Battlefront. That's why every journalist in the world wanted to talk about it. Because they are not even talking about Battlefront. They are talking about EA and Star Wars and Disney. And we have super interesting conflicts there. It's not like nobody cares about loot boxes if they're gonna be added to Fortnite. Despite the fact that Fortnite is a huge intellectual property, it's a huge game. I don't know, by the way, maybe there are already loot boxes.
Mean with like I get what you mean with Star Wars, that it's because the Star Wars franchise, but there was gaming YouTubers all over that were like making videos about like how bad EA is, and they were giving examples. They weren't just talking about the loot boxes. They were saying, oh, they did this in the past. They did even the FIFA like loot boxes, like even that, like the soccer things, and like is EA in charge of like FIFA? I think they are.
Yeah.
And then there's Take-Two that runs the NBA games, and like everybody pretty much knows about the loot boxes in like FIFA, and they know about the loot box NBA. I don't play these sport games, and yet I know how disgusting the microtransactions are, and that's because so many YouTubers constantly talk about it. So like I'll see like YouTube videos popping up in my feed of like them talking about like how ridiculous the loot boxes are, and don't get me wrong, they are. But the thing is though, is that the point that I'm making is that this same level of criticism is not directed towards Rockstar and Take-Two. Yes, there are YouTubers that talk about like me and you that talk about how they're screwing Red Dead Online over, but it's not the same. It's not the same. And if you take all the bad stuff that Rockstar and Take-Two does, like there's nowhere near the amount of videos on that topics online as there is EA. If you just type in EA controversy or EA scumbags, you will see hundreds of videos on that. But if you type in Rockstar scumbags or Rockstar bad things or something like that, you won't see as many. You'll see probably dozens of videos, but nowhere near the amount of like EA. And that's the point that I'm getting at, is that it's just in the like broader issue online. Like even people that don't play the game, there's not that much controversy directed at Rockstar, because people see Rockstar as like these geniuses of the massive open world games, and so they refuse to criticize them. They refuse to attack them.
I disagree on that. I see a lot of criticism and from YouTubers as well, and the point I just wanted to say, maybe I will sound like a Rockstar fanboy, but I mean EA is like objectively worse than Rockstar and Take-Two, in my opinion. EA, I mean, Rockstar and Take-Two, yes, they have a lot of flaws, and yes, they are pretty greedy, but it's not the level of EA. EA is just like a champion here. It's someone that all the companies are looking for, and they want to be so greedy.
Remember that Strauss Zelnick guy who was the CEO of Take-Two?
Obviously.
He said a few months ago that gamers are ready to pay $70 for new games. And he was like saying, "Oh, it takes all this money and effort to develop games, and so it's like it's a $10 price increase is justified." And the thing is that comment of a developer, or I should say CEO, basically saying, "Oh, we're gonna make all our games $70 in the future," that was like nowhere near the amount of criticism. Yes, there was people talking about it, but imagine if this was like the EA head, like if he said that like every single EA game is gonna be $70 from now, and then the same guy from Rockstar says that, or Take-Two, I should say, Strauss Zelnick, which one will get more videos made? It would be about the EA guy saying it, not the Rockstar guy. And that video that I made on it actually got pretty popular, and a lot of people said they didn't even hear about it. So it was just that's just the issues that a lot of people give Rockstar free passes on this type of stuff. And I'm not defending EA in this. I don't want people thinking that EA are scumbags. This is a terrible company. What I'm just saying is that Rockstar does bad things. They don't get the same amount of criticism. I get the community and people get pissed at them. I do understand that. People on my videos, like most people, 90% of people, I'd say, agree with me on that. Look at the likes on the videos when I talk about what Rockstar is doing. But EA, they don't get the same amount of criticism as EA, and I think that's a problem. I think more people should be willing to speak up against Rockstar and say this is not okay. It's almost like it's an overrated developer in a way. I'm not saying that they make terrible games, but that people will refuse to criticize them just because they have that Rockstar label to them, because they're the masters of GTA.
I don't agree. I see that lots of criticism Rockstar receiving, and obviously Rockstar, not even Take-Two, because Take-Two has this milking cow. They're not only milking GTA, but they're milking NBA 2K and milking it hard, and they do a lot of controversial stuff. But Rockstar is like, I really think it's like way better company in all the case, in all the meanings than EA, and that's why they receive less criticism, but they still have their portion of the criticism.
I'm mostly referring to Take-Two when I say this, but I kind of throw Rockstar in there because Rockstar are responsible for the monetization on these games, like the shark cards and the gold bars, but it is mostly Take-Two at the same time controlling this aspect.
Well, maybe we have some NPC. I was surprised to see an NPC. It's just sitting at the graveyard. But I still don't think it's a bit that much of a problem about the Rockstar not being. They receive the portion of criticism, and especially for that they don't release GTA 6. I mean, and every post they have, like everything they post, even if it's related to games, they got a lot of comments like, "Who cares? GTA 6," and that's it. So
that the Rockstar newswires, and I remember we talked about this last time. The Rockstar newswires, they used to have comments. People in the chat, some people in the chat probably remember what I'm talking about. But the newswire posts, like it happened. It happened before Red Dead Online, Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, but the GTA Online newswire posts, they used to have comments. I'm pretty sure I remember those comments on them. And what happened was, Pete, the comments were so negative. Like, it was like nothing ever positive at Rockstar. And then one day I remember that there were no more comments on the newswires. I think that Rockstar disabled the comments on the Rockstar newswires. I don't think they're there anymore.
Yeah, they did.
They got rid of them.
Like few years ago. And you say they don't receive enough criticism. They had so much criticism that they had to remove comments under the newswire post. So they do receive a lot of criticism. It's just, that's a fact. They removed comments under the newswire post section. And I'm not quite sure. No, they have not. I'm actually surprised that after, receiving such a backlash on last Red Dead Online related trailers on YouTube, they have not closed the comments section or dislikes, because it was terrible. This Bounty Hunters and Outlaw Pass 5.
they did disable the like dislike ratio. I think that will basically be proving a point that 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 they messed up, and so that's probably why they're not doing that.
Maybe. But they did the same with the newswire.
But you get what I'm getting at, right? That like
Yeah.
there's people like in there there's when you think about who are people more likely if you get 10 people in a room, who are they more likely to criticize? EA or Take Two. I'd like equal answers where everyone's able to criticize both equally. But you think about it, people in general are just more likely to criticize EA, and I don't think that that's the stuff that Rockstar, I think like sometimes I feel like they get a free pass with like the gaming journalists, as you said, journalism is dead in video games, and then there's also a bunch of fanboys out there that will defend Rockstar and everything, and I love them as a developer. They make amazing games. They're still my favorite developer, despite all the bad things that they've done in the past. At least I like the old Rockstar. But I just feel like sometimes I feel like people won't get attacked, and I don't remember like one IGN video or even like GameSpot video actually criticizing Rockstar over like Reddit Online.
I don't think it's that big of a deal, to be honest. I still, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, Take Two and EA, I might be wrong, but it's a different sized companies. They're not the same. EA might be bigger companies, that's why it received more criticism. And yeah, EA's behavior is like, to me at least looks worse. Plus, there is a thing, you watch closely for Rockstar specifically, so you know all the small problems with them, and you don't watch that closely for EA, so you know only the big flaws with them. So it's hard for you or for me to compare, because we mostly watch for Rockstar, not for EA, so it's hard for us to compare these two companies. Rockstar or Take Two doesn't matter at this point. So we know better about one side of this problem. I just hope that this new update is not gonna add any reasons to criticize Rockstar. It's just only gonna be like
I hope I
something.
don't have to make a meme video attacking them again.
Yeah.
You seen my SpongeBob meme somewhere?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good one. And but what do you think? Since we're talking about all this gaming media, if the update will be good, like if let's say the heists will be added, will world find out about it? Will people like make articles about it or not? Dreamer
Yeah,
says yes. Dreaming, yeah.
If the update is a massive success, oh yeah, people are gonna make articles talking about it, and they did the same for No Man's Sky. Like I didn't even play No Man's Sky. I didn't play that game. But I knew it was a disaster when the game launched, and then when they released a bunch of updates, people got back into it, and then I know that they did release more updates, and people got back into it, and now it's in much better state than when it released. I think Reddit Online can also kind of make a comeback on. I think it can. I think it does have the potential, but this update, I think it's definitely a step in the right direction. But if this update was like something garbage, which I don't think it's going to be, I think this could have had the potential to do irreversible damage to the game, because that would have been like 4 updates in a row of just terrible stuff.
Well, yeah, but I'm not. I don't know. So you're saying it's like a make or break, right? This update.
This I think a lot of people would agree that it's make or break it, because it's.
But if it's something
they
mediocre,
need something good.
If it's not terrible, not great, not terrible like this meme, but something mediocre, like a little better than, I don't know, Naturalist. Big update, some content, some good content, some flaws, some problems, but not critical. I think nothing gonna change in this case. Like it's still gonna be the same. Not a success, not a dead game.
I think even if the update is mediocre, I think that you're still gonna get a bunch of more people to play the game. It's if the update is terrible though, that's the problem there. Then you will lose a lot of players. Like I know players that have played this game since launch and are like much higher levels than me, and are pretty much given up on the game at this point because it's the lack of support.
But they can change it at any time. I mean, this lack of support. I mean, this lack of support can end up next Tuesday. We might see that they've gave a lot of support to this game.
Yeah, and I the thing that that pisses me off the most about like Reddit Online, the number one thing that gets me so mad about the game is it's not even the terrible updates. It's not even the lack of updates. It's the lack of communication.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that the developer does not talk to people at all. Like that's just what makes me so frustrated. They have this feedback page. They're like, oh, we're listening to your feedback. And yet, they don't talk to people. Like, I see other developers that will respond to people on Twitter. They'll, like, ask them, like, what do you want to see in the game? And, like, people will post underneath their Twitter, and the developer will actually respond. The developer's official, like, Twitter will actually respond to people and answer questions. But, like, Rockstar never responds to people. They very rarely grant interviews, and when they grant interviews, it's one of those terrible magazine interviews, and, like, all of the interviews questions are usually, like, scripted. It's nothing ever like a video interview. And the developers, the journalists that interview Rockstar never give them the tough questions about like why are you neglecting this game so badly. People are pissed off. As you said, journalism is dead. It's just if these updates got delayed or something like that, people would still be pissed. I wouldn't say I would be happy, but it would at least give me assurances that the developers talking to people saying, listen guys, we're really busy, COVID is happening, we're dealing with a lot of stuff, but here's an update on what we're going to be releasing. Here's a roadmap of what we have planned all the way from summer to like winter time, all the big updates that we have planned. And you did something like that, I guarantee you'd have positive reception. But just the fact that there's no communication, nothing, they say nothing. They're so secretive about everything. And then they give us information just like 1 week right before the update. It's people aren't happy about that type of stuff because people would rather get excited over an update that they know is coming out instead of like waiting months and months only to be disappointed by something like a Bounty Hunter expansion or an Outlaw Pass 5 with no content, and then they basically say screw this, I'm not playing this game, and is delete the game and get off the game.
Well, yeah, I agree with you about the lack of communication. I don't think it's gonna like change. So we might receive a lot of content and even something that we've been asking for in the next update, but about the lack of communication, I highly doubt it's gonna change anytime soon. And since we're talking about the lack of communication, I have to say hello to chat, to anyone who joined. I see a lot of familiar faces, so familiar nicknames. Hello anyone who visited, and thanks for joining, obviously, and thanks for placing your likes, because I see a lot of likes. If you just joined and don't know what's going on, we've been talking with TheProfessional. You see the link to his YouTube channel in the description, so go check it if you're interested in. And the main question for you, because we've been streaming for quite some time now, like the main question, I know it might be kind of hard to answer, but let's make your prediction from 1 to 10 about the next update, where 1 is a total disaster. It's like, I don't know, it's Outlaw Pass 5 but worse. The Outlaw Pass 5 that breaks the game, and 10 is like...
I don't think anything can be worse than Outlaw Pass 5 at this point.
Outlaw Pass that will break the game is even worse, but maybe not. Anyway, and 10 is like the perfect update that you've been 10 out of 10, you know what. So make a prediction, and the same question is for chat, and I see a lot of answers already. And the same to you, Patrick. What do you think?
I think that we can all agree it's definitely not going to be a 1. And I think we can all agree it's definitely not going to be a 10. I would say the fact that, they're actually focusing on crimes in the game. They have more stuff to do. You're actually kind of feel like an outlaw. Looks like a lot of new activities, coach holdups, kidnappings, homestead robberies. Looks like train robberies too. And opportunity missions that are going to be drip fed. I would say probably if there's no suspicious thing in the update, if there's no hidden surprises, that's something really bad in there, I would say probably 7 or 8 out of 10, as long as there's nothing that's there's no bad surprises in that. I would say, and I'm skeptical at the same time. So I'm kind of kind of lenient on giving it like a 7 or an 8. I want to give it I want to give it possibly even higher, but I'm just suspicious at the same time. So like I could bring my score down all the way down to 4 or 3 if there's something really bad in that update.
It's kind of interesting because I cannot obviously count as a correct number, but from what I can tell, the average score from the viewers, average scores that they predict, is also around 7. It's also around 7. Obviously, there were like scores like 0, and I believe Redbird the gamer scored it like with 5 digits or something, but I mean, average is 7. So people, I would say, like people really optimistic considering the level of optimism we had before this announcement. So this announcement made a good job after all, because before the announcement, the mood in the community was like really, pessimistic, really negative. And
You remember when you said about that you said you were kind of surprised that that people were like really negative about that. But that's because of just how badly like Rockstar handled it. And even if this update is like one of their best updates yet, I don't think it's gonna pass Frontier Pursuit level, but I think it might even be better than Moonshiners, because Moonshiners I think was a pretty good update. So this update I think has the potential to be even better than Moonshiners. So it could be the second best update in the game. But judging by how Rockstar handled Red Dead Online in the past, I think we can see why people are suspicious and why people are pissed. If Rockstar did a better job at handling Red Dead Online, then I think the chat, there'd be more people with 9 or 10s if they actually had released better updates in the past, because that wouldn't give them reason to doubt Rockstar.
yeah, because they literally announced Robberies, and anyone was so skeptical. Like most
Two and
people,
a half years later.
it's a stranger mission, nothing more. And by the way, still people think it's gonna be. I guess some part of these crimes will be similar to stranger missions, but it's definitely gonna be something bigger overall. But obviously, we'll have to wait and see, because next week. Oh, by the way, so there was another question I wanted to ask you, but I forgot. And since we are almost at the end, I will ask you now, and it's gonna be the last one. So at the end of the Newswire post, Rockstar said, "Stay tuned for more details on next week's update here at the Newswire." And a year later, they posted this info about Outlaw Pass, like almost immediately. But do you think this one last line means we're gonna receive some additional portion of information, I don't know, on Friday maybe, or on this holidays weekend?
Stay tuned. I'm looking at it right now. Stay tuned for more details on next week's update here at the Newswire. Nah, I think they're like, they gave us a trailer. They gave us like a big post. I think I don't think they're gonna do anything else. That I think that there's gonna be more information, but that's gonna be on release date. So that's gonna be on 13th. So like, and the thing is, most people aren't gonna look at that. They're just gonna like just jump on the game. So it's I don't think they're gonna give us any more stuff.
Okay, I promised it's gonna be the last question, but it's not. I remembered another question. Why do you think? Why do you think they posted a trailer before the update? It's for the first time they're doing it in Red Dead Online, and as far as I know, they're not often doing it in GTA Online as well. They always post a trailer at the same day as an update itself.
I think because it's probably different this time, because there's a lot of people in the community that are, this is probably the angriest the community has ever been, like at this point right now. Like Outlaw Pass 5 and now, like this is like the most angry the community has been, because we've had nothing but crap updates. Naturalist, did have a lot of content, but it was boring. Like I said, it was just a weird DLC. Then you had Bounty Hunter, which just added 10 new roles. I know they added a bunch of new infamous bounties, but it's not what people wanted. People wanted something new to do. And then they added the Outlaw Pass 5, which is probably the worst DLC ever. I don't even think it's a DLC at that point. It's just, I call it nothing DLC. And so the community has been so angry at this point. So I think that they probably understand that to an extent, and I guess they want to give people reassurances, and also because a lot of YouTubers have been making videos about this, like, saying, like, and Rockstar, they make a post, like, on the newswire, thanking GTA Online YouTubers, like, and they highlight like a bunch of GTA Online, but they never do it for Reddit Online YouTubers. And my best guess is that if they watch like GTA Online YouTubers, they have to watch Reddit Online YouTubers. They have to have I'm not saying they watch every video, but they have to have at least an idea of what people are saying in the Reddit Online community, or at least what YouTubers in general are saying about this, about like the state of the game. And so maybe they want to give people reassurances by doing something like that. I doubt that it was because of my video. Like I posted my video one day before. I said it's make it or break it. But maybe my video had some effect on why they posted it, but I doubt it. I think it was just that there was anger building up in the community over time, and they understood that, and people were skeptical about the update, and this gives people more reassurances and more reasons, I guess, to play the update when it comes out on Tuesday next week.
So basically, it's a pretty optimistic thought we're ending up the stream with, because what you just said means that they still care about the community, about what community thinks about this game in general.
At least I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope they care to an extent.
I still think they care, and they always did, because I don't agree with this theories that they don't care about Red Online just because it brings less money. Obviously it brings less money, but it doesn't matter that you have to abandon the projects that can bring you some money with like not that much investments. You still can make money from it, so it's kind of foolish to refuse to take this money. And yeah,
I see one comment. No one is angry. It's the YouTubers making everything worse. Oh yeah, sure, dude. No one's angry. Like I talked to so many people that are so pissed that, like, oh man, I talked to one of my friends that was like one of my friends that's level like 700. I sent him like a link of my video, like talking about it, and I said, like, what do you think of the next update? And his response to me was just 2 words: dead game. That's like what he said, and this was like somebody that's level 700. So there trust me, there are plenty of people that are really pissed off and really angry about the state of Red Dead Online. I don't know what that comment was getting at, that it's just the YouTubers that are angry.
I don't even know, like, yeah, but let's say only if your viewers are angry. Some people might do this point just because you are angry, your viewers are angry. I hear this all the time, but I cannot think even of one YouTuber that was like super happy about what was going on with Red Dead Online lately. Even the most positive dudes like Austin BMX, like the most optimistic person, he was not that optimistic last month, I believe. I remember that. So people were losing optimism, even the strongest optimists. So yeah, I agree that community was not in the best mood lately about Red Dead Online, and I agree with you that it might be a reason why they decided to post this newswire with actually few posts. They announced it basically with few posts and trailer, and it worked. It seems like people way more optimistic right now about the future of Red Dead Online. And with that being said, like, thanks to all the viewers who joined our stream, this podcast, and watched it, communicated in the chat, placed the likes. I have to show the cat because it's a middle box. Cat in the middle box. No, cat in the big box, because we had a lot of viewers today. So thanks to you all, thanks to my patrons from Patreon, and thanks, Patrick, to you for joining and discussing all this stuff.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks. Hope we will have something to talk about after update. I mean, in a positive way to talk about after update. A lot of content and interesting stuff to discuss later. But for now, that's it, guys. Thank you for joining. Stay healthy and see ya next time. До свидания.